Just hit the record button. All right. So basically today what I wanted to cover is because we have the Fed tomorrow, of course that's going to throw the liquidity out there and things are going to happen. It's just that simple. It always happens that way. So we really, just to follow up from the webinar that I did on Sunday, which was very detailed about different things and different scenarios. We're a little closer now to the day. And I'm going to keep this as simple as possible at first in the sense of I just want to use candles, a 200-day moving average, and middle Bollinger Band. And this is going to be your middle Bollinger Band, the blue one. Your 200 is going to be a red one, just so you know. And I'm going to have your relative strength index visible. And the reason I want to have those as visible as possible and keep every other Bollinger Bands and Fibonacci's and all this other stuff out of it, because what I'm going to do is just use trend lines for now. Okay, because trend lines are the key to everything, because they are the biggest resistance, and also your 200 and your 20 SMA, which is your middle Bollinger Band on whatever time frame that you're looking at. So basically, we're going to start here with the Dow, and we're going to run through a whole bunch of stuff, but we're really going to focus on the Dow, the Spider, and Nasdaq, and then we'll look at some of the big boys. So right now you can see for the month it's come up $734 to where it is right now, and it looks very strong because it's been, it has these two candles right here, and typically you get two candles and then a red candle. Three candles, on this one is a stretch unless you're in a bull pattern, which this is. But now here we're in a bear pattern. So with it turning negative, it usually you don't have the buyers like you did for the upside and the conviction. So it basically you get two candles and then it reverses from there. So the first trend line is going to be, where the top is. And I'm starting with the monthly just so we have that idea. And I'm going to drill it down a little bit lower, okay? So basically for the month, if we can get up to this trend line in this current month, that's going to be 17,756, okay? So that's going to be our really, really tough resistance for this to continue to the upside after that. Okay, and then you're going to have some more resistance up here, of course, at old highs and stuff like that. But your most immediate is going to be your middle Bollinger Band and your trend line right here. So on the monthly, that's your upper trend line. You could see on the bull move, our extensions weren't anything like this. So our extensions are actually tracking a little bit lower. All right, they're not hitting exactly center. They're just tracking lower. So this is pretty much your pattern right now, and it's an ideal pattern for swing trading per quarter. So if you're looking at different stocks quarterly, making that trade, and then just sitting back, whether it's options or stocks, and then just sitting back and let things happen without even worrying about it, because you have this identifiable pattern right here. Okay, if this does not break, then it is coming down here. It's going to have a candle and probably pop back up to over here somewhere. Okay, unless this fails. If this fails, then it's going to go even lower. But that's when you use your lower time frames to evaluate where it is. So, keeping it very simple, it is what it is. We're on a move to the upside. Your 20 SMA is starting to push up a little bit here. Okay, and we're getting very close. We closed at the high here, so we're going to drop this down a little bit lower, and we're going to get into the weekly. And you can see the weekly. The very important part of this weekly is we broke the middle Bollinger Band. Okay, the 200 was, it regained the 200 on the weekly each week that it came into it, or it was support, and then we just rocketed. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the fifth week of big extensions. Okay, and if you notice back in October when we had that other big run, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 6, and that created that other top that we have up here, okay, which is a lower high from the highest point. And you could see our relative strength index is at 53, so it pretty much made 50% of its move from where it was. So basically what I'm saying here is your resistance is coming up, and we're going to change this line a little bit as we move the times down, because the candles different as we move down in time. Okay, so you could see this candle here and at this current extension right now on the weekly, and the weekly is really what I want to focus on because that's what people are playing, quarterly and weekly. I mean, the big boys, not us. I mean, we're doing options and we're short-term view and whatever the case may be, however most people do it. So now taking a look at the current trend line to the upside, we did break this, okay? And when you break a middle Bollinger Band, it's pretty hot. All right, when we broke here on three candles, one, two, three candles, one, two, three candles, and we broke. Okay, and then we had one, two, three candles after that. Now, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but typically you're following the same patterns that have taken place in the past. Okay, from when you're doing technicals, 90% of the time you're looking at history to play the future. Okay, and that's what we do. We're big on candles, and everybody knows because you've seen 100,000 of my videos. So here we have another one, two, three candles. Okay, so three candles would take us up to this trend line right here on the weekly, and the date for this to happen is the 4th, the 1st, April 1st. Okay, which is going to be quarter end, right? So with my view, okay, it is what it is until it isn't. Everybody who knows me, that's my biggest thing here, is these trend lines, they are what they are, okay? If it's not broken, don't force something that's not there. We're still going to the upside, no matter what happens during the chop during the day. If you're looking at a longer term view, you could see that this is a pattern to the upside. And it's a blatant pattern to the upside. And if history repeats itself, it's going to do the 1, 2, 3 candles, cross over the middle Bollinger Band, 1, 2, 3 candles, cross over the middle Bollinger Band, and then 2 more candles to the upside to hit this area here, which is going to be heavy resistance, and it's going to be 17.6, right around that area. Okay, and I'm not saying we're not going to spike above it and then pull back down. I'm just saying for the weekly, we have this week and one more week to be green. And that's going to close out the quarter for the big hedge funds nice and happy. They'll be able to bill all of their clients because if they were heavy red, they can't do the billing like they should, like they'd like to do. So typically a quarterly move is very nice, and they're going to get what they want to get because they have the money. We don't. Even though GDP is downgraded today because of retail sales and this, that, and oil inventories and all this bad news is out there. It's irrelevant right now. But I can tell you one thing, on April 1st, guess what's going to come into the picture and stop playing a role? Okay, all the bad news. All the bad news is going to come out, and we're going to start getting this. Okay, so we might get a little bit of chop, but our extensions are moving a little bit faster than normal, and it's very important to know that. So you want to prep yourself for when you get into this area here, because understand on the shorter time frames, we are going to be very overbought. All right, so it's going to need that big reset. All right, so does it take it another quarter to get down here? Who knows? I mean, but baby steps. We want to finish this move first because it's a very big move. And there are a lot of identifiable factors on these charts that are telling us that. So if I move over into the SPY, we have this 203.76 right here. Okay. Then we throw, and I'm going to stay on the weekly instead of, I look at the monthly too. I said I was going to. And we throw this trend line here. Okay. Now that trend line, all right, keeping it as simple as it is, you have your high candle here, you have your next highest candle here, here, everything was resistance, and then it pulled back down and made its move, okay? And it's simple that this is our uptrend line, okay? So of course it's typically, it's the same thing as the Dow. Hold on one second, I can't get that, it's not letting me pin it. Okay, so you could see where the support came in today, and then it went a little bit higher. Okay, again, this is the weekly, so we're not out of this week yet. So this candle is still, still red because we started yesterday red, and we had today, red. So, big deal for the week right now. We're down, 59 cents. Okay, but we're still down, and that's very important when we get into the daily chart. That I'll tell you. So when you're looking at this move here and the identifiable factors on everything, you can see that the SPY has this gap right here. It still hasn't gotten it, and it has its trend line a little bit higher. Okay, and by having the trend line a little bit higher and this trend line not breaking, then it is showing a pattern to finish this. Now we can come under this, okay, and then come over, but it's as long as you close the week out under this trend line. Okay, so whatever time frame you're working in and you're drawing your trend lines, it has to close that period under it or over it, depending on how you're, if we were looking at the upside, then, it has to close the week over that trend line to be bullish to go higher. So your relative strength index is at 53 right now. Okay, so it's already really made most of its move from the oversold position. Now, if I drop this down to 10, which I like to use that because it's a little more aggressive, and I could see, I could see when it comes down and hits the 30, you have some hesitation here on the weekly, but we also have the bulls in place as we speak because it's still doing what it was doing before. Now over here we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 candles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here's the sixth candle. Okay. So that's interesting. So is it this week that we just power all the way up to this? It's a good question. All right. Now, how do you identify the first pattern to the upside instead of us going to the downside continuously? Now, if you draw your trend lines, you have to draw these trend lines so you know. Okay, here was your pattern break. Okay, for more of a move to the upside. Okay, you had a faster trend line, but you would use lower time frames for that. So with this candle breaking right here, that was also in line with the middle Bollinger Band, which was heavy resistance. Now you just turned even more bullish. Okay, and that's when you look at your Bollinger Bands and everything else. So keeping it simple, it wants to finish its move. Tomorrow we will know. So if I drop this down to a daily now, you could see a lot of chop here. I mean, this is just crazy. But at the same time, you know, you're still in that pattern to the upside on this time frame, and your relative strength index is at 67, and it's been holding. Okay, so this is the extension right now on where it's going, and this is the support. All right, and what's really great is you're over the middle Bollinger Band, and you have the 200 SMA that it just closed over today on the daily. Okay, which is very bullish. It's bullish. It's just that simple. So when the Fed comes out tomorrow, there are a couple things that can happen. And this is what's really important that we have to watch for, okay? So 90% of the time, the first reaction is the wrong reaction. Okay, so if this sells off tomorrow and comes down to this trend line, and the trend line is at, I think it's at 200, 190, where that gap is on the daily. Let me make it down to the hourly. Sorry for 1 sec. Let me just mark this gap. Okay, so if we come down to this 199.88, okay, then you can automatically know that we're coming up to the 203 or higher. Okay, we will do that. If we come up and open up at the 203.76 after the announcement and we're rocking to the upside, we are going to reverse to the downside, and the top of the market is in. But because we're coming into a quarter end, I really think they're going to finish this move to the higher. I don't think they're going to tank the market to the lower, but we'll have to see what happens. It's, like again, tomorrow's very important for what the next measured move is going to be. Do we finish up here at this trend line at 208, 209, or are we going to tank all the way back down here? There are no indications right now that it's going down. We haven't broken any trend lines yet. So based on our hourly, as long as the hourly stays intact and closes above it, then we're going to be fine for more upside. Okay, and when you're looking at this, you want to make sure tomorrow, if you're in long positions because, you think the market's going to the moon, and, you listen to CNBC and all this other stuff, and it does just the opposite tomorrow where it hits its head right here, okay, and rolls over because your relative strength index is coming off of 70. Okay, but it hit 70 here also and then made a higher move. So you have to understand that you're in a very tight situation right now with the relative strength index being up here. Anyway, now if I switch it to 14, you'll see it a little bit different, and this is what most people use, because you get full measured moves. You could see from there, or from here all the way down to here, or from here all the way up to here. So there is room for this. It has not hit the 70 yet to get more upside. Basically, what I'm telling you, it's getting close. It's in this area right here. Okay, this is our top, and we have, based on the weekly, we only have 2 weeks left if it's going to be all upside. Now, if it's going to be all downside, the areas that you want to watch are the different gaps. And just using SPY for a quick example, okay, you have one gap here, you have another gap down here at 194, you have another gap down here at 186, okay? And I can tell you that to get this 186 on something bad, all right, I can tell you right now, it's not going to take this long to get down here. All right, because when we drop a lot faster than we pop. And it's just that simple. Okay, so you have this low gap here, and you have another gap down here. Now, something else to be aware of on SPY is when we do start to reverse, because we are going to reverse soon, and that's why I want to show the reversal side also, is that this is our trend line to the downside right now. Okay, so the trade pattern is basically, here's your high, okay, and here's your low. All right, taking everything else out of the picture, that's exactly what it is. So if you bring this out to a weekly, you could see, a very easy pattern here, and very identifiable pattern that, coming off of this high, we're not going to use this candle because this candle we went higher over here. So by coming off of this candle, and this candle, you could see your next projection is going to be our 177 gap. Okay, wherever that may fall. Now, this trend line is either going to come down here, okay, or it's going to create a double top right here and come down here. But my bet is that we're going to get over this and come up into this area over here. All right, that's my thinking. I do think they're going to finish this weekly move to the upside, but we'll have to see, because the SPX has not closed over on the daily yet. Okay, it did not close over yet. It tried to here, but then it pulled back down again. So it's still under, but our pattern and our trend is still to the upside. Okay, they just need to know what the Fed's going to do tomorrow before all the liquidity pours into it, and rock and rolls. But understand something that's very important also, and this is on all the charts. You have a zone right here, okay, that all these people have purchased tons and tons of stuff. So there's going to be mega resistance in this area. So basically you cut this pile in half, okay, and that's where your resistance is going to be. So if you look at the SPY, if we do that on the SPY, okay, and you have all this right here, all this mess right here, and we cut this mess in half, okay, and we bring this over here, you could see this is going to be all your resistance, because these people are going to sell because they can. They want to get out of their stuff. So this whole area is going to be chop. But if we can get 202 to 208, 209, all right, and hit this trend line, the current trend line, you're still looking at a measured move of 804, $8 from where it is right now. Okay, and then we go the distance move quarterly to the new low. All right, or sooner, but you'll follow my trades just like you are now, and you'll get all that information. Now, something else that you want to be aware of is on patterns is being able to see what patterns do. So you could see here when we crossed, we came down, we came back up, and that was, once it crossed over, that was the resistance. Now I'm talking about the 200 and the 20 SMA, okay? So you could see here that it came over, and that's the top came into place, and it was that simple. So what you're looking at over here is the same exact thing. We're getting close to that area by the time, because the 200's coming down, okay? So by the time the 200 gets up into this, over here and crosses, that's going to be underneath this box, just like it would be underneath this box, okay, or just like it would be underneath this box. So in this pattern, so in this area, you could see there's more here than what it is. So it's going to, this is going to come up, cross over, and then come down, and it's going to roll. Okay, so May might be very choppy. All right, might just dump, who knows? But going by historical patterns, whether it's daily, weekly, or monthly, it does not matter. You want to be able to see all these little things where it comes into play. This isn't crossing to the upside under any circumstances yet. Okay, we're not. I mean, this is a weekly, and you could see your pattern is just this simple. Okay, so why wouldn't they take it up to that? Whoops, wrong one. To this area over here when this is your exact trade pattern. Okay, why wouldn't they take it up unless something horrific happens tomorrow? um, you know Basically this is our zone. Okay, because it went from here to here, now it went from here, and if it goes up to here, then it's going to come down here again. Okay, if this is our high, all right, then we're going to come down even faster. But if you look at, let's see, COMPQ, SPY, we have an upper gap on SPY. COMPQ, which is Nasdaq, look at what we have here, a nice gap at 5,000. Okay, so this isn't done. All right, they're gonna try and head fake, but the pattern is in place right now for this to be. Sorry for all these drawings. I draw in every chart like a madman. Okay, so the pattern for this one is to finish up here, and this is the weekly. So potentially it could finish here, but it's meeting this middle Bollinger Band as resistance also. Okay, so I think we're going to get a nice couple of big candles, and then that's it after that. And they're going to finish the quarter strong, and we're all done. Okay, so this is basically what I'm looking at right now. And if you drop NASDAQ down to an hourly, you could see same thing, just chop coming across, not over the middle Bollinger Band yet, but left another gap. Okay, so there's a little bit of a gap up higher. Same with SPY. There's a little bit of a gap on the hourly that did not get filled right here. Okay, so if we do get that pullback and then up, it's going to be up for the next 7 days, very strong. Okay, and they're going to power the end of this quarter right up to the trend lines. All right, there are a lot of gaps in these charts that need to be taken care of, and they're going to be taken care of. All right, because they always do. They're not going to waste this measured move. You got 203.62 right here. They're not going to waste this measured move and not finish it, I don't think, unless the Fed does something absolutely silly tomorrow. And and another thing, if Hillary's supposed to, they say Hillary and Trump are supposed to be great for the market. So if they take all the states tonight, then that's another reason for them to have more ammo to the upside. Whether it matters or not, it's just something they can use to push this a little bit higher. But SPY being over on the daily, we take a look at the Dow now, which is really important because we're over that 200. It's really following a more aggressive pattern than everything else, and this is the daily here. It's way over the middle Bollinger Band. The middle Bollinger Band is even riding a direct line, a speedy line up this trend line. You could see it hiding out there, and you already broke this. It's going to finish up here, and that 14.56 is going to be what it is. Okay, a 14.6. Well, current pattern. What do we got? 17.6. Okay, but we know we can do that in 1 day on Fed News. All right, we can do that in 2 days on Fed News. So who knows what's going to happen? They could bring it up to this double top, because one thing you want to make sure, even though these trend lines are in place for the downside, okay, if I throw this on a weekly, and I can do it on the daily too, it's pretty irrelevant. There are certain things that do take place when you have your low and then your high. Okay, that creates a consolidation box. All right, and if our trend line breaks, okay, if our trend line breaks, that's sitting right here, okay, there is going to be heavy resistance right here. And everybody that trades with me knows that I'm a huge box fan because I always get the top of my box or the bottom of my box, and those options rock no matter what. So even if this trend line does break, we are going to get the spike up to the top of this box typically. Okay, so we can push a little bit higher. So don't get freaked out that, if it breaks here, let me go all in all of a sudden. All right, no, because your relative strength index isn't going to allow that. All right, and if you want to draw the box out a little bit different, come over to this high over here and do it this way. You could do it that way too. And we're making higher lows inside the box. It doesn't matter. So this is still a consolidation box. So you really have two consolidation boxes, but your first break is going to be this one here. Okay, this is your first consolidation box that needs to be broken. Now, can your lower time frames handle that break? That's the question. And what I mean by that is, can your relative strength index handle going to 250 to get to the top of this box? All right, it just doesn't do that. So it's going to hit this resistance in this area when you get up into 70 on the RSI. So in this area, and we can churn across the top, you're looking at this area here to be your most solid resistance. Okay, so the top of the box in the next 2 weeks is definitely doable. Okay, even though this trend line breaks, because this fast trend line broke right here. All right, and then we shot to the moon. That's when you buy it, you set it and forget it. All right, but now our relative strength index is going to be so high on the daily, okay, it's not going to get through. Now, if you drop this down to 10, you can see that it's already, in nosebleed section. It's at 71, but you can get up, it's okay to get to 83. All right, because this one has done that several times. So it's just a matter of understanding, not so much having all your, middle Bollinger, all your Bollinger Bands and all this other stuff out there. It's understanding all these other factors when you just take everything out of the picture and you say, okay, it is what it is. All right, we have a trend line to the upside, we have a trend line to the downside, and we have a consolidation box. It's already making its move. Okay, it broke this trend line right here. So what's next? Next, it's going to be this trend line. But you'll have resistance in the way. But if they're going for a full measured move, they're coming up here, right? Because that's what they do. That's exactly what they do. So if they're going to do that, then you just keep it as simple as possible for what you're looking at. So you have a couple of boxes there. So if this box breaks, God knows how it will, but if it does break, okay, and we're going for all times high, in order for that to take place, all this is going to have to be accumulated. So it's probably going to sit in this area over here, okay, and it's definitely possible. It's a scenario. All right, and if that takes place, then it's going to come up to this area and consolidate again. But your relative strength index isn't going to keep screaming across at 70, 80, and 90. Okay, it will drop down, but only on when it's sitting in this area. So, you have a couple of factors that are going to really play a role coming into this. Okay, and those areas of interest are really simple, and it's a matter of your consolidation boxes, okay? Because this is the pattern that it's following, and it's just that simple. Okay, this is our consolidation box. This is our downtrend line. All right, when we're coming to the downside, I need to know that this is my area of concern, which is the lower side of this box. Okay, but instead of having all that, I would take this out of the picture and not even worry about it, and I would just have my trend line in place and say, okay, well, I'm going to go 3 months out and be able to enjoy the flush and play golf all summer. Okay, it's just that simple. Why not? I love golf. All right, if you like fishing, go fishing. Go camping, go hiking. Don't play the chop because you're going to get crushed. All right, so taking a look at a couple other ones. You get Amazon here. Amazon's doing the same thing. This is a weekly right now, okay, doing really well. It just broke above that resistance on the weekly. This was the resistance here. We still have to get over that, but you have this beautiful gap up here at 671. 675, is that what it is? Yeah, it's 675. Can't really tell on that, but if I drilled it down some, but another beautiful pattern to the upside. If you look at the daily, there's nothing broke about Amazon. Okay, so it's just in a consolidation box right now, and you have a couple of gaps in this on this in these areas. Okay, you have another one right here, and so on and so forth. So you could still see that this is a pattern and a trend to the upside. Still plenty of room as the relative strength index is going up very nicely from our lows right here. You know, it has not hit the 70 yet. It did come into some consolidation with the market, but did not break through its 100-day move, 200-day moving average or its middle Bollinger Band, which is continued bullishness. Okay, continued bullishness. Taking a look at PCLN, sitting in the same position here. You know, this one is just on a path. We were talking about this one today. Now look how long it's been over the 70. Okay, even through consolidation, it brought it down a little bit, but nothing spectacular. It never made it lows. Today we're breaking out of all kinds of things. So you're in a tight channel right here until we're not. In other words, you know, we have, where's my line? Okay, you have your support trend line lower side right here, which is also your middle Bollinger Band, and then you have your upside, which is right here, and that's why that resistance came into play. Okay, today. Actually, it broke it. Right, so if we look at the bodies of the candles, that's where our resistance is right now. So this is on a mission, okay, and it has beautiful gaps down here, and it more back here. You can't really see it on this one, but there's more back there that are absolutely epic too. So why is it continuing to go to the upside and has not retreated from earnings? Because this was earnings, okay? Why is it still going to the upside after they gapped it? All this consolidation didn't matter what was going on. Why? Because they have a gap to fill at 1427. 1434. Whoa, 1434? No, it's got to be 1427. It's 1427. I do that know that number inside and out. Okay, so once this smashes through this, we're going to get one big spike, and this is going to close that. We have earnings on CRTP on Thursday close. Okay, is it tomorrow close or Thursday close? Either way, I'll answer questions in just a minute. I'm just going to finish up here. So, you know, with this consolidation and moving, you can see also if we drop this back to a weekly, you know, there's nothing broke about this. I mean, this is just gorgeous. This is just setting up for an easy move to finish this off right here. Now, if you're going to play the puts with me to the downside, because it's going to be absolutely epic, make sure you're following my trades, because if you're playing to the upside, you know how awesome it has been in the last few weeks to trade this, and how lucrative we have done with this, especially on Fridays. It's really fun. But we do have an 1100 gap. We have, you know, something a little bit lower than that too. So, you know, so PCLN is pretty much, you know, on the roll to the upside, and a beautiful gap here. So it falls in line with the market also needing to be strong to finish this. Now, if we come over here to Google, you're going to see the same thing. We have, there is a gap. Where is it? No, wrong one. Weekly. Let me go to daily. I thought I had a gap on this. Or was it my pattern? One second. Maybe it's Google. Well, maybe it's not. Maybe it's just the trade pattern itself. So the trade pattern right now is really tight consolidation, slow and steady to the upside. And I know there's some kind of conference next week, and you know, we do nothing about fundamentals. All I am is completely technical. So if there's something bad that's going to happen or good that's going to happen, you know, either way, I'll be part of it based on my relative strength index when it comes time. So basically, you know, you have the pattern right here, but it's not coming down and smashing it. So you have the support here, and you're over the middle Bollinger Band and the 200, which is very bullish. So all this really needs is a pop right through here, and it can come all the way to the upside. You know, it's pretty much just channeling right now, not huge volume, but making moves. But if you look in the weekly, you know, it's one of these stocks that has a nice ATR, but guess what it did? All right, it closed over the middle Bollinger Band. I mean, it's over the middle Bollinger Band from last week. Okay, so if we close over this and we get one more powerful week, now what you need to know is the bodies of your candles. Okay, you also have this part all right, which is your wicks, but you also have your bodies, and the bodies are very important, especially when your relative strength index comes into play, okay? So here is going to be your first major resistance, the bodies of your candle. Now, if Google comes up and gets this, 767, 768, what we're in right now is pretty powerful. Now, if the SPY goes all the way up and everything moves up 900 points, okay, guess what's going to happen? We're going to come up to the 827, okay? And 827 falls in line with the daily trend line that I have drawn. I just know the numbers in my head because I do this all day long. Okay. Now, when you're looking at a weekly and you're pulling over on my BB chart, you could see here that we're just getting ready to move on the other side with the histogram. Okay. We're just separating now on the 9 and the 9 and the 6, getting ready to cross to the upside. So is it going back up there? I don't know. My indicators and everything that I'm seeing is working. Okay. SPY weekly. Look at the week. We're not done going up. You could see here. Okay, this is just part of a little more that you could see based off of what the webinar was the other day. Okay, Amazon. These aren't crossing to the downside by any means. Look at it's getting ready to move to the upside. Where's the gap? 675 on Amazon. Okay. Am I saying it's going to get there? I'm saying it definitely has the potential, and that's why I showed you, if the market does go up, then all these other tickers have different targets to be met. Okay, and if you're positioned properly for the next 2 weeks, and you know the ATR, and you can read and see what exactly is going on, you can do very, very well. Okay. Now, there are certain tickers when you're doing options that are much more lucrative than others, of course. And, the 8 that I put out today were very important. Okay. The 8 that I put out there today, there was a reason I put those 8 out there. Okay. I don't just, throw darts at a dartboard. All right. Skynet is big on, a very big tool for us. So you could see that everything in here is really looking not broken. I mean, is Facebook done based on the weekly? No. Okay. Do we have a couple more candles to get before we start coming this way? Absolutely. Okay. So it's really being aware of the what, the when, the how, the why, and looking at everything, in taking all the noise out of everything. Okay. Once the noise is out of it, now Facebook, if it breaks this 112, all right, so how do you know where it's going to go next before it meets resistance? Well, draw it out. But when you have all that noise on the chart and you can't see all this stuff, but you have to know what the SPY is doing. You have to know what the market's doing. You have to know what the Dow is going to do. Where's the top on the Dow in order to trade these? Okay. So that's basically what I see. And it's going to be interesting tomorrow to see from what we're going to do. But based on everything that I see on my weeklies and my dailies and everything else, I think we should get a little dip and then we should rock up for the next 2 weeks. That's my own. That's my own analysis right now. I mean, you just crossed here on the Nasdaq, which looks beautiful, and then we have this gap up here, which will take it to that trend line there. So, and all my trend lines fall in May 1st being the highest that the market's going to be. That could change depending on speed, depending on, as the charts change. But just on history, looking forward, that's pretty much what I'm looking at. All right. Let's see some of the questions. Oh, Ray's here. Hi, Ray. Hold on one second, Ray. Let me get you live. If I could find you. Where are you? Ray. Make organizer. Sorry, Ray. I went off on a consolidation box on Amazon Daily. Yes, I can. All right. So quick consolidation box on Amazon Daily. Okay, do you want all the boxes that I see just by doing this? All right. So here's your big box. All right. Now, before everything else came into play on this, all right, you had a trend line to the downside, which is this trend line right here. I'm not going to count this rogue candle right here because that means nothing to me. Okay, I need pattern candles. All right. So we broke the trend line right here, had some resistance, but this was your low and this was your high. All right, so that's what I'm counting as my large consolidation box right now. Okay, um, that's the full measured move would be all the way back up here to get this gap. Okay, you do have a gap here at 597. You are consolidating right now. Now there's another box in place right now because this was your double top right here. Okay, you had a double top in place, and basically off this low here. Okay, that's what you're looking at. But like I said, we're over this and we're over this. We didn't come all the way down on this drop to make that low. Okay. And here's an example, like I was talking about Sunday, when you break a trend line, you could still come back and this trend line acts as support. So that's why I leave them in there for a little while. So you could see when we broke it, even though it went into a bullish mode, we had the resistance of the 200, but when it came back down, it stopped on this trend line and acted as support. So just a little tidbit for you to keep those in there for a couple of days or whatever time frame you're looking at. Now when this came down, it held the 200 and the middle Bollinger Band, excuse me, which is very bullish. So, you know, if it snapped here, then you would have had the lower side of your box. I'm not saying it's going to I know it's going to come down and get this lower side of the box at some point, but not right now. Right now, it is what it is. Okay. This is the pattern to the upside right now. So by these little moves, and if you look at this crosshair, all right, it's telling you and showing you that 596 is pretty much going to be your top, 597, and that's going to fall in line with April 4th, unless we get some hellacious candles that are going to fly it all the way up here, and the market just continues to go. Okay. What about the dollar index? I don't follow the dollar index. I wouldn't even know what to look at. What is the dollar index to look at? I mean, I'll look at it from my technical analysis if I can look at it. Ray, what is it? Do you know?
$ USD.
Oh, USD. That's right. I haven't looked at that in so long. It's not even funny. So pretty much, oh, this is choppy, huh?
No, that's not a, you need the $.
Oh, why didn't it? No, I did that, didn't I? Oh, I got to do it in the box then. Thanks. That's a downtrend, uptrend pattern. It's going higher. This is the daily. It looks like it's going higher. Your relative strength index is there. You're going to meet resistance right here. You came down and closed this gap right here with a higher low. And if you want to, just keeping it very simple here, you have this high and that low. So we'll put this like this. Right now, it's in an uptrend pattern. Okay, it has not broken the main areas yet, which is going to be your 200 and your middle Bollinger Band. So whatever happens there, because it did make a higher low, but it also could make a lower high and continue with this fast down trend line, because this is your fast down trend line. So if it doesn't break this, because your trade zone right now is just from here to here for this one. So until it gets over this and over this, it's basically still in a bearish pattern. But based on the relative strength index, typically what would take place here is this is going to make a move to the upside and finish the upside a little bit. And that's basically what I'm looking at for this one. That's just on a quick time frame on the daily. If you move this out to the weekly, you could see it a little more clear because there's less candles here. It's trying to make a higher low, and it did have a lot of support in this area over here. So if it can maintain this higher low, but your relative strength index, is just leveling off here. It's not doing anything on the weekly yet. It's trying to form this double bottom. Um, but like I said, this is just it's such a tight pattern right now. And if you look at the monthly, I can tell you it's going to look ugly. Okay. It looks like it's coming right down here. It usually gets 3 red candles, which would be a 50, which is 94.60. And that would be a reset of your relative strength index. So it's been, it's just been in consolidation, not doing anything for a little while here. It has that pretty solid support. And usually you only get 3 green candles, okay, or 3 red candles, or 2, depending on which move it is, before it bounces to a different direction. So, when I look at the stuff longer term, because I like to plan out, to do leaps and stuff like that, I'll throw it out on a quarterly so you can get really a better view of this. And you could see here that your relative strength index is still at 67. So this is just starting its reset, and if you look at the SPY on a quarterly too, all right, you the same thing. You're in a downtrend pattern. Your relative strength index is at is still up at 70. So we're not resetting by any means yet, but it's in that pattern to do the reset. Okay, so basically they're just milking the clock before something aggressive is about to happen. Now, if we put this on this chart here, and I put that in money side, you can see on the ribbon chart for the weekly, it's already crossed the downside. It's not done moving to the downside yet, but it's slowly turning, and we will cross over here to go to the upside. Okay, that's basically what I'm seeing right now in the weekly. If you shift it to the daily, it's going to try and find same thing. It's going to try and find some stability and then start to move the other way and probably come up and get this trend line that it's built in place here, or this trend line here. There'll be 2 trend lines to keep an eye on for that. Throwing it out to the weekly, you can see the weekly is, same thing. This is heading down. It's probably going to try and find some support in this area, 95.24. But on the longer term, it's starting to come down here. Okay, and then once it crosses this is what's going to happen. So we got a couple more quarters before it really gets aggressive to the downside. Hope that helps you. Are there any other questions? UUP, what's that, the dollar? Oh, the bullish fund, yeah. No questions whatsoever. All right. All right, well, CMG, okay. CMG is a train wreck. Yeah, I got. She's not done going down by any means. Nice 4-day chart. That's coming to an end, though. Maybe not. Oh, yeah, it's getting there. Whew. No, it's not done. That's right. I have that trend line set up on the other chart, right? Yep. Bounced right off of my trend line and then came back up again. The monthly, if in order for it to continue to the upside, it has to close above this monthly candle in the next week and a half, which is going to be 508.79. 508.79. Basically, all you had was a little bit of a relative strength index off of some support bounce. There's nothing aggressive about this to the upside. Under the 200 on the weekly, under the 50 still on the weekly. Yeah, they might put screws to this one again and come back down to the 400. Yeah, because that was last week and that was the week before. Unless they have some epic news, this toilet is about to get flushed again. No, I looked at it today on the daily and it wasn't over the middle Bollinger Band, right? Yeah. and on that pattern. It has a beautiful gaps up here, and that's why I'm watching it. But your relative strength index came up, and this should be solid support. If it gets under 477.91, forget it. It's going down. I mean, if you're in that for stock long term, I would keep that as your stop. But you could see we already broke a trend line that that was trending to the upside. So if you want to be proactive, oh, not yet, almost. You want to be proactive before you get to this trend line here. If you need a stop, I would keep your stop right at 490, I would say. And it isn't an up pattern right now, but the minute this breaks on the daily, it's going to snap lower. And I would imagine it already broke it on the hourly based on what I'm seeing right here. And the hourly is your first signal. So, yep, you broke. So you broke right there. So this line is now going to act as your resistance line, just to help you out. Okay, so you're pretty much, if it gets under this 200, it already broke. So, but it could come back up here. Draw your trend lines out. It's really important. Your hourly wants to do a little bounce because your relative strength index is at 30. You could get a nice little pop up to this area over here, where that gap is at 522 in that area. But with all this resistance in this area, I don't see it really exploding unless there's some kind of news that comes out. Because the other time frames on the charts, I do see this rolling over pretty heavy and coming back down here. Now remember, we do have a low gap on this that's pretty important to keep an eye on, and that's right here at 405.80. Okay, and look at September for that. I think September area would probably hit that. Okay, nugget and dust. Holy crap! All right, I'll do it quick. Okay, Jazz. Nuggets trying to get over the. This is a daily, trying to get back over the middle Bollinger Band. Had a nice little retreat weekly. We did the split. Hold on, let me make sure my split's in here. This is my 2-for-1 weekly. Goodbye, Nugget. Goodbye, Nugget. Yeah, Nuggets toast. Nuggets going down, and that means dust will be going up. Oh, this one has to split. Don't touch this one, Jazz. You should be watching for that. Oh, it already did the split. Oh, that was at 2013. I don't know, Jazz. I wouldn't touch this. Something's wrong with it. Yeah, I wouldn't play with dust whatsoever. No, that's too brutal. Looks like they might have to split it and pull it back to where it was before. They'll probably have to do a 10-for-1 to bring it back. Fastest way to make 20K weekly option scalping. You're gonna have to consult your broker for that. Thank you. Can you look at REGN? Yes, REGN should be going up, but I didn't enter that today, Vic. Is that Vic? It has to be Vic asking the question. Here's my issue with this, okay? And I'm gonna mark it out on a weekly first, okay? It is not showing any power to the upside yet under any circumstances. Now, if you're looking for this as a trade, okay, I would, you're going to have keep these trend lines in place because all you have right now is from here to here. Okay, which is really not going to do too much for you. If you break it down to the daily, you know that this is going to be your support right here for now. But you can see this bounce was horrible. Now, the important part is your trend line right here is very close, okay? So if this breaks, I would say, yeah, go for it. But for now, you have to identify exactly what you see. And this is what I'm going to talk about Sunday in the webinar, is setting alerts. Okay. This is what I see right now. Okay. Unless it holds a really solid double bottom right now in here, um, I won't know until it breaks this. If it breaks this, I'm a go. But other than that, because you do have a nice box set up right now, potentially. But your down pattern on this is just brutal right now. And the volume to push it higher, it really didn't even come up and get those gaps. So, I mean, once this breaks, I would say that's your cue. So I have two set right now, two alerts set for this one right now, and I have one set here and I have one set here. Okay, I don't want to force something that's not there. And for me personally, this is mid trade. Okay, I wasn't in from up here, or I wasn't in from up here to ride to the upside, or from here to the downside. So I would prefer personally to be on a trend line, um, than catch a falling knife like a VRX situation. So really, just how to draw the pattern out, draw those out. Could you look at Guild? I sure can. All right, Guild. Guild is flat, absolutely flat. Daily looks like a choppy mess. I know there's a gap right here. That's why that line is there. You do have a solid trend line on the daily right here to the upside. This is CMG chart all over again. uh, you know, if something's not moving, you're not going to make any money on it. Okay. When you're in a pattern like this, all right, and actually we'll bring this right up in this area first because this is your support. Excuse me. When you're in a consolidation area right here and you're only moving $4.24 every single day, I mean, and the market has gone up 900 points, there's an issue. Okay, there's definitely an issue if it's not following typical patterns of the rest of the market. Okay, this consolidation could be a consolidation for a breakout higher. Okay, and I would consult BIB for stuff like that. But and this is why I tell you to look at all the time frames for all my members when we do all the seminars and webinars and all the stuff like that. Okay, you have to look at all the time frames. So really what you're seeing right here, right now, is just consolidation chop, where if you're doing options or if you're doing stocks, you're making zero money. Okay. And when you're making zero money, you're just praying to God that something's going to happen. All right. Guild was great before, but how is it now? Okay. Well, let's go really long term. Okay. What do you see? Okay. You see it's coming down. It's drifting down, lower and lower and lower and lower. Okay, here's your middle Bollinger Band. What are the patterns on this? Well, that same exact pattern happens all the time. Okay, it tells you right here what's going to take place. Okay, it's going to do some kind of split. All right, so it should be splitting in this area at some point to bring it down here like BIB did. All right, and then head up. So the consolidation right here, nobody's pushing this anymore. Nobody's doing anything to this anymore, only because they know there's going to be a split that's going to bring this down into this area again before something else happens. So that's my perception of what I see right now, only because this has made its historical moves like it's done in the past. It split, it goes up. It splits, it goes up. It splits, it goes up. It splits and it goes up. Okay, so identify those longer term patterns to really analyze what you play. Now, if you're looking for a scalp trade on this, you got two candles on the monthly that are potentially green, no big move. These were big moves. Okay, and it's really, like I said, it's not doing anything, so I wouldn't be part of it. It's really confused what the hell it's going to do. So nobody's playing it anymore like they used to, it seems like. All right, hopefully that helped you, Sterling. And Dave, hey Matt, if you were just taking any tickers and we were on restaurants, I'd be interested to see what your evaluation is. DRI. Sure thing, Dave. I'll take a look at it for you real quick. DRI. Long term. Oh, Darden Restaurants. I worked for them for 15 years. So I don't like them. Short them. No, I'm just kidding. Looking at the weekly, we get a double top in place. Relative strength index is overbought right now. Its pattern is pretty much intact, and it created this double top, but it's in an up pattern still. Um, I think potentially I would probably work with the bodies of the candle and this middle Bollinger Band for a longer term view. I definitely see this one coming down to at least test the middle Bollinger Band, and you're looking at maybe, if we estimate an angle right here, at a $5.46. If this is weekly, I mean, something like this I really don't play because the ATR is too low. I really like a higher ATR, especially if you're doing options. But if you're not doing options and you're doing stock, look for a pullback. If you're in from over here, if you're in from this area over here and you rode it all the way up here, I'd probably look for some profits in the near term to uh, then maybe re-enter if it holds that trend line. But you can see here on the daily, when you break it down a little bit more, you get some interesting things here. It's had a hell of a move to the upside. RSI is all the way up here at 70. So it's definitely going to need to take a break. And you do have a little gap right here, which probably will fall in line with your middle Bollinger Band here. So, I mean, it looks pretty good. I mean, it definitely looks good. And if you're looking at a quarterly, the quarterly is pretty consistent to the upside, but understand, if it doesn't end this quarter higher, then you have a double top right here on 2 quarters, which would be an issue. And you could see here where it comes down to the middle Bollinger Band, which would be about 49.50. Probably by the time you get over here, it'll probably be about 52 to 55. That should be your longer term support line because it's been your support in the past, and it'll probably go higher. So any kind of reset on that. All right. Who was that? Dave? All right, Dave. CMG bad news after hours, down on weak February comps. Oh, well, that was pretty obvious that was something was coming. Thanks, Elaine. All right, Jazz, no problem. Jesse, you want me to look at JNUG? All right, I'll whip through JNUG. I'm slowly getting through everybody, so just hang in there. JNUG looks good. On the quarterly, looks like it's doing okay. They must have let's get this to monthly. Monthly looks like an S storm is about to take place. Oh yeah. And that'll probably fall in line with your middle Bollinger Band there. Why do I have that on there? I must have been watching this for something. Why didn't my alert go off? This is a weekly. You broke the weekly trend line. Depends how we close this week. But your relative strength index is saying we want 40. We want 40. Unless you're going to split. All right, what do we got here? There's that. All right, so that broke. It's only started making a little bit of its move to the downside. There's a gap right there. I would target the 4402. You're under the middle Bollinger Band. You already broke your uptrend line. I would target 4402. Unless you get some news or something to change this thing to power forward, I see 4402 coming. JDST, did I miss that one? Time is it? Oh, not bad. I think we got a split coming, Jazz. I wouldn't touch it. Yeah, I wouldn't play with this one. Not me. Not me. If you want that, you can play that by. That's ugly. I mean, this thing is just brutal. It's even below split price. Oh man, how come I didn't? Oh, we did that when I did the seminar. Remember that? Yeah, this thing has been buck mutilated, just like UCO. Perfect. Yeah, I'm not. I don't know, Jazz. I'm totally confused on that one. All right. Oh, you're working for them now, Dave? I'm very sorry to hear that. You should trade harder. You won't have to work for them anymore. Oh man. Yeah, I was on an opening team. I was a training manager. I did all that stuff. I was a multi-unit manager, and yeah, I like having a family. I enjoy golfing, so I got my life back. All right, I'm not going to repeat that. Thank you. All right. Is there anything else, everyone? Hey, listen, I know there's a few new people here. If you want to follow my trades, I put my trades out on WhatsApp. Exactly what I do. That's one of the services we offer. So, you can just contact us. Actually, join us on the main site. Go to one of the join us pages, and it's the first column, and you'll get the WhatsApp. Before I enter the trade, I always let everybody else have it. We have a good crew following now, almost 70 now, in the last couple of weeks. So, if you want to follow us, make sure you do that. Or if you just want to, um, you know, uh, email me or Ray, then we'll be more than happy to set you up with that. It's a good time. All right, one more. BIDU, that's it. One more. Okay, because I know my wife is cooking and I can smell it and I want a part of it. That's pretty interesting monthly right there. And that just ruined it right there. All right, weeklies, if we close under this 50 right here, then it's going to come get these gaps that I have set up right here. If it closes over, then it's coming up higher to the top of the box. But I have alerts set on this one, so if certain triggers hit, I'll let you know in the chat room. SPY, yeah, I did SPY. I'm not going to get into all those, but I already did SPY. I already looked at Apple. I'm not going to look at that one. All right, rejoining WhatsApp tomorrow. Great, Dave. Whirlpool is actually one of them. So I'm not going to look at all those right now. But if you want to do something on the side, just message me in chat, and I'll be more than happy to answer you on any of those questions. But I'm pretty much going to wrap this session up now. Does anybody have any other quick questions that I can answer before I go and do that? All right, Mark, no problem. Everyone, have yourself a fantastic night.